another area that people ask about is khalwa. Do you guys experience khalwa in your workplace? Being alone with a man in Let me ask a question first. What defines khalwa?
Like a man and woman alone in one place? Nobody else is there?
Anybody disagree? Or want to add some more?
Maybe also adding that the door is closed or there's no possibility for anyone to overhear or pass by.
So, when a man and a woman in seclusion, that's right?
Yeah. Even in the room or maybe by communicating on phone or typing, texting, I would say. That's also
So,
khalwa.
not physically, any form of seclusion.
Any form of,
Of-
presence of.
You're not using microphone, sorry.
Sorry?
You gotta say it.
Oh.
Say it again.
Yeah, any form of seclusion would be like in the privately sitting in the room, typing, texting, or on the telephone, talking without being any mehram or anybody, just you and that guy.
So, if I email a sister and she replied to me, is that a khalwa?
It depends on your conversation.
You didn't say conversation. You just say any form of. So if I text her and she texts me without ceasing, is that a khalwa?
It is a khalwa, but your position is different. Like
No, not me, Waleed. It's just a person. Okay, so I would say I don't know any one will from Ahl al-Ilm will consider any means of distance communication as a khalwa. Phone or that's not khalwa. Because khalwa must be physically exist in one place. So that's out of the. What you're talking about, there is cause fitna, and this is something we talk about later. You know, alone in conversation, basically on over social media or something, or you know, over the internet. But this khalwa is physically exist. A man and a woman seclusion. Okay, question. Sister Asma, have you ever been in a situation where you're in the hallway, you and a man, alone, nobody else in this hallway, come across each other? Is that a khalwa? So when you see that, you stop in the end of the hallway until he passed and you go?
I really hope not.
Okay.
I've never done that before.
So is that a khalwa? Definition, according to definition, seclusion, man and woman alone. And they are alone in this hallway, passing by each other. Nobody can seize them, nobody can hear them.
I'm going to defer that to you to answer.
But it makes sense, this khalwa?
no,
No, that's
No.
right.
I would say no.
It's not a khalwa. I understand it's not a khalwa. Common sense. But so that means there is other condition must be added.
Yes.
That khalwa must be something for a long period of time, not a short period of time. Because that's just an incidental that we come across each other. Even if we are in seclusion, that's not haram. Why this is important? Because, for example, at workforce and in school, you might tell me, I'm going to get into the elevator with a man. And I would say that's not khalwa. Why? Because it is a short period of time. It's an incidental. People in and out. But one of the conditions and the definition of khalwa, it is something will remain for a while. Okay. Another thing, al-ulama said seclusion where physically nobody can see them. And they specifically mentioned the issue of being seen. Not the condition of hearing is not a condition, but the seeing, they have to be. So if they are in a position where they can be seen, that's not considered a khalwa. That's why we say if you end up taking a taxi, that's not a khalwa. And you're wearing in the back seat, that's not considered a khalwa. And that's why Shaykh bin Jibreel rahimahullah said, Very interesting fatwa. He said it will be only khalwa if this taxi will take her in a highway or traveling from one city to another, and they will go in a distance when there is no other car passing by. That's became more of a khalwa. But inside the city, which is crowded, everybody see from outside. It's not like a limo or it's like completely, nobody see what's inside the car. That I wouldn't consider a khalwa. You are on the bus. You mashallah, you come early. You're the first one picked by the bus. And there is nobody else on this bus except you and the driver. But it's open. Nobody said, oh, I'm not going to take the bus.
And then
Same thing, train. Like the train car. Maybe me and someone else on the subway. That's not khalwa because it's open place. Yeah. Me and my boss, and there is a glass in the office. It's not considered khalwa. Okay? Or me and my teacher talking to each other, but all the students far away. That's not khalwa. So the khalwa is this. Also, one of the conditions of khalwa, that it must be between one single man and one single woman without mahram. And they are not relation to each other. They're not mahram to each other. So in this case, if two women and one man, that's not khalwa. Two men and one woman, that's not khalwa. The khalwa is one man and one woman. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, ما خلا رجل بامرأة إلا كان الشيطان ثالثهما. When a man and a woman together, the shaitan is the third one. But if there is a third party, regardless of the gender, al-fuqaha rahimahullah will tell you that's not considered khalwa. It can be fitna, it can be not appropriate, but it's the khalwa, because the khalwa has a hukum shar'i, a ruling, and defined by the sharia. I want also to explain something, that sometimes even the khalwa, which is considered in Islam khalwa, happen at workforce, at in education field, because of a need. You are the manager and you need to give a review for someone. Oh, you going to a publisher and you need to meet the publisher. There's nobody else in the you're not gonna, okay, I'm gonna bring my father with me. Maybe it's not gonna work. In professional work, that's what happened. You're a teacher, someone coming to give you a review or a feedback about your teaching, or you're the principal, you want to talk to another teacher. So in many circumstances, you have to be with someone, even in seclusion, and you cannot leave the door open. So we say, you try your best to avoid, keep the door open. But if I can't, and I close the door, you make that meeting short, yes, precise, to the point, and you leave.
in parent-teacher meeting also it happens.
Sometimes the parents, yes, and the father only in the come. So one of the conditions of khalwa, as I said, it has to be for a long period of time, but we can forgive this, and we make exception if there is need. And I say the word need, not the word necessities. If there is need for it. So this is one of a common question that I get about the issue of khalwa and how we deal with it in the workforce and in the educational field. But generally speaking, Islam, when forbids khalwa, it is because of again, it's opened the door for the shaitan. And I would like to take this opportunity to warn all my sisters, do not ever take this lightly. Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah said, don't be with a woman alone even if you teach her Quran. That's why the fuqaha rahimahullah said, like the Hanabila said, it's not allowed for a man to lead a woman in prayer alone. Even the Salah, they pray together alone, close to each other in one place in seclusion, is not allowed. The Hanabila says not allowed. And the Hanabila even went farther. They said a man should not lead a group of women Salah by himself. Not because of the khalwa, but because this opened the door for fitna. They said if he wants, bring another man with him. So they know how this can open the door for the shaitan. And I want to say that sometimes we kind of relax with these issues, with relatives, with friends, with co-workers, and things can escalate to things we never expect it will reach, and not because khalwa is a complete seclusion. There is things close in meaning to khalwa. Yes, being with a man in a restaurant is not khalwa. But you are applying all the concern that we have about khalwa in being alone with a man in, a quiet place in a restaurant, or a co-worker or someone not related to you. All this open the door for problems. And the person should, be careful from these actions. So I just don't want somebody to take this and open the door. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to not khalwa. But there is other perspective in Sharia, we look at it. That can lead to muharramat or to fall into haram. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the footsteps of the shaitan. Thank you very much. Yes?
I just have a question.
Sure.
So I'm going to use the example of workforce, and you said that, because you're surrounded by individuals, and you also threw in the example that, what if there's a need and you are alone, for example, if you have to converse with the manager. In a case where there's no one around and there are cameras, no one's seeing you at that moment, but you can be seen in a camera, let's say for the next day, would that still be considered khalwa?
It is still khalwa, but what makes us a little bit feel, we don't deal with it like we're a little bit relaxed, because today there is a lot of laws govern the sexual harassment, and you can immediately go to the HR and complain about this, and this is taken very serious. This is not, and especially our society, one of the blessings that we have in our society, that these things can be, it will be taken very serious if you complain. It's not something easy. We all hear every day, these lawsuit cases against celebrities and big people, and they get in trouble. From presidents all the way down to any small manager. So that's why it makes me feel more safe. Because the whole issue about khalwa, one of it, safety. Is not only for desires, but also the safety of the sister, the safety of the woman when she interacts with the man alone. So at least that area, I feel a little bit of there is a higher degree of safety when there is cameras, when there is, when there is like glass, when there is laws that prohibit any type of, sexual harassment or violence against the employer and so forth.